Ilaila, uaila, no makahini ohana. Welcome family, e komo mai, aloha e komo mai. When you're down, you're feeling low, got nobody by your side. It can be lonely and you want to only find a place where you can hide. Just sit back and sit right in. You can make it all come true, 'cause there's always hope inside, and hope will see you through. Aloha!
This is the place where you belong. Ohana
means family.
A family to call your own.
Where you feel at home.
Everybody sing.
Ilaila, uaila, no malahini ohana. Welcome family, e komo mai, aloha e komo mai. Now you can see through your eyes, nothing but these clear blue skies. Love it has found you, and when it surrounds you, it's just like paradise. Now the door is wide open, now your heart has taken wing. Feel the magic in the air, and hear your spirit sing. Aloha!
This is the place where you belong.
Ohana!
A family to call your own.
Where you feel at home.
Iki Baba.
Where you feel at home.
Iki Baba.
Ilaila, uaila, no malahini ohana. Welcome family, e komo mai, aloha e komo mai. Aloha e komo mai, aloha e komo mai.
Aloha. Hey, come on,
Aloha.
my. We welcome you to Unity Church of Hawaii. We're so glad you decided to join us this morning. Please stand and let it rise.
Glory of our God, rise of our God, rise among us. Let the glory of our God rise among us. Let the praises that we sing rise among us. Let it rise. Let it rise. Let the songs of our God rise among us. Let the songs of our God rise among us. Let the joy of our being rise among us. Let it rise. Let it rise. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let it rise. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let it rise. Let the glory of our God rise among us. Let the glory of our God rise among us. Let the praises that we sing rise among us. Let it rise. Let it rise. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let it rise. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let it rise.
Yes, indeedy. And may the peace of our God rise among us. May peace rise. Kumu Mai. Welcome to Unity Church of Hawaii, where we are transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in the world. Our co-founders, Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, both had extraordinary healing experiences through the power of affirmative prayer. Unity, if you are asking, is a movement that welcomes everyone. All denominations, all faiths. Unity does not want to change what you believe, but want to enhance what you believe. Unity has 5 basic principles. Number 1 is God is. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in our lives, and that is God the good. Number 2 is I am. Being created in the image and likeness of God the good, we are therefore inherently good and one with all that is. 3, think it. Folks, we are responsible for our life experience. Life doesn't happen to us, it happens through us. And what we think today will, I will guarantee you, become our life experience sometime down the road. Change your life, change your thinking. Number 4 is prayer and meditation. Unity is solid in a daily practice of prayer and meditation. It is in the communal time of prayer that we are in communion with God, and then in the stillness of meditation, we receive what is necessary for us to express, to bring God into expression uniquely as us and live the abundant life. And 5, the most important principle is live it. Friends, if we're discovering truth and just speaking it, we're taking up space. We're not fully living. We must take these principles and discover truth for ourselves and then step into that truth and be that unique expression of God here on the earth to bring heaven to earth so that we may live the abundant life as the beloved of God. We must live truth as we know it to be. In a great way, us Unitics like to learn a little more about truth and get an understanding of truth is by the use of affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements of truth. So I think we should try one on for size this morning. Okay, if you would be so kind, with velocity to repeat after me. I am divine. I release all that is no longer serving me. And I claim my good. I claim my good now. I express my good in this now moment. Take a breath into that. We are awash in the blessings of great good. And speaking of great good, and also the 5th principle of being active at living truth, love is that pure essence of being, according to Charles Fillmore. So I would invite you now to put that love into action by standing as you are able and having your love greet the love that is all around you. Please greet one another in love.
Standing, we'll sing Aloha is. Aloha is a promise. The sun will shine again.
Aloha is God's grace. Walking in the sunlight, feeling the beauty of life, living the beauty of life.
Won't you all sing with us, please?
Aloha is God's helping hand, warm and comforting voice. Let God's peace be with you in all we do. Aloha is the mind, the heart, in perfect harmony. It's tenderness and love, deep in the heart of Hawaii. Aloha is the Hawaii. Hawaii is aloha. Hawaii is Yahoah, Yahweh, I love you. Hawaii is Yahoah, Yahweh, I
All right, everyone, welcome to Unity Church of Hawaii on this beautiful Sunday morning, the first Sunday in August. And so we welcome you with big, bright, radiant hugs. And we're also wondering, during that time, that Love Fest, you might have noticed somebody who's never been here before or somebody who hasn't been here in a long time. So if you are here for the first time or the first time in a long time, we invite you to rise, to stand, so we may give you gifts of aloha today. And we do have some visitors here today. Yay! All right. So what the ushers are bringing to you is a kukui nut lei, which represents the light and love of these Aloha Islands, as well as a gift packet. And inside that gift packet is a voucher for a free breakfast. So today, after service, you can walk down the steps through the courtyard to our kitchen area, and you present that voucher and receive your free breakfast. And then we have one last gift for you. That is a blessing. So let us all raise our hands and give our new friends a blessing together. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much for joining us today. And this is our reminder when we see our new friends with the kukui nut leis on to invite them over while we're enjoying our breakfast to tell them all about this spiritual community and how it has transformed your life. And we do have people streaming in from all around the world. So let us say hello to our online viewers, giving them a shaka. They're viewing from Germany, from the Philippines, from California. Reverend Denise and Reverend Larry are viewing right now as well. Let's give them a hello and say thank you for joining us this morning. We feel your presence. We feel your love. Mahalo for all of your continued support. And speaking of support today, I am being joined on platform by the beautiful, the glorious Reverend Levitt Thomas. Yay. And yes, throw back the hair, Reverend Levitt. And today we have our guest speaker, Kumu Ramsay Taum. So thank you, Kumu, for blessing us with your message of aloha in a bit. So, and then we also do have birthdays.
Oh, you want to do that first?
But Next month we have birthdays. August we don't. All
Okay.
right. So, yeah, we do have birthdays this month. And so if you were born in the month of August, we would love to sing you a birthday song. And it might be a cappella. So let us sing a birthday to all of our August birthday babies. So,
Oh, happy birthday.
Birthday.
Hallelujah. Happy birthday.
hallelujah, happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Hallelujah.
All right, August babies, you represent the power of will. So thank you for joining us. I know that God was thinking really well when he thought or she thought or thought of you. So mahalo for blessing us with your presence as well. And so now I invite up wonderful Reverend Levitt.
With some
on
good
cue.
news.
Yes, the
Okay,
good
everybody
news,
got a
sir.
bulletin. Okay, this is a roadmap to all the treasures of Unity Church of Hawaii. There's an upcoming C class that is starting on August 3rd. Actually, it started yesterday. Bible Overview, Hebrew Scriptures. Please call that phone number for where it is being held at. And it's with the Reverend Giordano, the senior minister at Unity Wynwood. That's SE class, Bible Overview, Hebrew Scriptures. The Compassionate Communication Circle, the NVC practice group, is continuing on every second Tuesday of the month. The next meeting will be the August 13th, right down in the garden room, so please check that out. NVC is awesome. The Eye of the Storm book studies are ongoing. Eye of the Storm is an extraordinary transformational study. It will transform your life. If you're not in the book study, please get the book and read it and follow along on the 21-day journey to transformation. And Give Aloha is starting at Foodland in the month of September. There will be more talks about that, where you can go give and they'll match and all that kind of thing. And Kumu Ramsay, our wonderful guest speaker this morning, has some workshops that are coming on and some classes. So please go to kumuramsay.com. He's an extraordinary teacher. It is a transformational experience to take his classes. So please go to kumuramsay.com and check out his classes. And now, a time of prayer.
In this very room, there's quite enough love for one like me. This very room, there's quite enough joy for one like me. And there's quite enough love and quite enough power to chase away any gloom. For Spirit, Holy Spirit is in this very room. In this very room, there's quite enough love for all of us. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all of us. And there's quite enough love and quite enough power to chase away any gloom. For Spirit, Holy Spirit is in this very room.
From Daily Word, Silent Unity publication. They're located, if you want a copy, down in Connection Central. Today's word is service. Our affirmation is, I look for opportunities to serve. I look for opportunities to serve. Let's speak this truth together. I look for opportunities to serve. The message continues. I make a point of developing my spiritual life. I read and study. I pray and meditate. I am part of a spiritual community. But spiritual understanding doesn't count for much unless I put it into action. So I look for ways to serve. Any act of kindness is a form of service. It might be volunteering to help the poor, but it also could be mowing a neighbor's lawn, letting someone lead in the grocery line, or carpooling with children. Service ranges from full-time caregiving to something as simple as listening. Anything I do to make a life a little easier is for another is service. And I see opportunities to serve as soon as I look for them. Service is a spiritual practice. Today's Bible verse is from 1 Peter 4:10. Like good stewards of the manifold grace of God, serve one another with whatever gift each of you has received. I look for opportunities to serve. The reading is finished. And now I'd like to do the statement of faith, if you would join with me. Repeat after me, if you will. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life. The infinite, living, loving presence of God. Now with that statement of faith, let us settle in for meditation, if you will. Getting comfortable in your chair. Putting aside anything you might have brought with you. And also I invite you to put aside concerns. Close your outer eyes or dim your gaze and take a breath. For it's the breath that takes us home to where we, God and love, are one. And home is always, always a breath away. And in home is also the peace that passes all understanding. The peace that is a part of what we are. And in the world today, it would behoove us to bring forth that peace. To be that peace. To look at each other with the eyes of love and realize that we are the indigenous people, the indigenous family of Mother Earth. That each of us is a unique and diverse expression of God here and now. See with love and behave in peace. With this, let us now rest for a few moments in the stillness. Now with a gentle breath, we return our attention back to this time and place, overflowing with appreciation, knowing that seeing with love and being peace, we bring peace into the world. And so it is, and so we now know it's done. Amen.
And now together, let us repeat the Aramaic Lord's Prayer together. Father, Mother, birther and breath of all, create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire then acts through ours as energy fills all forms. Give us physical and spiritual nourishment each day. Untangle the knots of error that bind us as we release others. Don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act appropriately. Age to age, from you comes the glorious harmonies of life. May these statements be fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen. Amen.
In this very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough love and quite enough power to chase away any gloom. Lord Jesus, Lord Jesus is in this very room. This very room.
Life can be a challenge. Life can seem impossible. It's never easy when so much is on the line. You can make a difference with courage. You can set things right. The gift to dream and make dreams real. It's yours and mine. The power of one begins with believing. It starts in the heart and flows through the soul and changes the world. Imagine how life will be if we stand in unity. Each of us holds the key to the power of one. Each of us is chosen. There's a mission just for you. Just look inside, you'll be surprised what you can do. The power of one begins with believing. It starts in the heart and flows through the soul and changes the world. Imagine how life can be if we stand in unity. Each of us holds the key to the power of one, and one by one we can make the world a much better place. The power of one begins with believing. It starts in the heart and flows through the soul and changes the world. Imagine how life can be if we stand in unity. Each of us holds the key. It's inside of you and me. Each of us holds the
Clap another hand for Guy. Wasn't that great? Talk about spirit. Man, how do you follow that? First of all, aloha. Aloha. It's so wonderful to be back. Thank you for having me. Joanna, thank you. Good to see you, everyone. First things first, I want to say thank you all for the wonderful prayers and thinking about me and my family this last year, and which makes it even more poignant to be here today, because to be among family and to be with one, as Guy just reminded us, the power of one. So much aloha to all of you. Thank you for being here. Yeah? And Aletha, I don't know where you get this, but we haven't talked, but she picked the songs this morning that are almost consistent with the stuff that I'm going to be talking about this morning. So once again, you're always there, right? So the spirit is moving. And Joanna, again, thank you for inviting me to speak. Several weeks ago, I got to do a presentation on the way of aloha, which I'll be sharing with you this morning, and at the Happiness University. And it just seemed to be a nice time for that, given what's going on in our world, as you suggested earlier, Levitt, and thank you for that. So I'm here again to maybe remind us about the value and the importance of this thing we call aloha. But more importantly, the way of aloha, the way of being. You know, as some of you know, some things are going on here in our state as well as the world, the island called Earth, right? And there's a concept that's out there called kapu aloha. Have you heard that? Kapu aloha. I like to say that essentially it's the way, the kapu, the way of being. The kapu of aloha, the way of aloha. So today I'm going to be talking about that. But I'd like to draw your attention to the, I get my head out of the way, but that's hard because I'm in the picture, right? See, it was kind of purposeful, you know. Yeah, see, talk about imagery. Oh, boy. But that sunrise happened to be on the summer solstice. Of course, the longest day of the year. And it was appropriate because sometimes it feels like it's a long day, a long time. But it also says that there's always sun, there's always light in the darkness. And as I was suggesting, Aletha's choice this morning is because, as many of you know, Atipilahi Paki was one of my kupuna. And as I sat there and looking and welcoming the sun with Ealae, these words came to me. Aloha is the sunlight shining through the darkness, giving strength to all we do. And this morning in that song, that's what it was about giving us strength. Always knowing that, yeah, it might be dark, but the sun will come, right? It's always focusing on the light. Darkness is the absence of light. It's an object, if we can find that light within others, within ourselves, you know, there is always aloha. And so I was very fortunate to have been able to be mentored by Auntie Pilahi, and we speak of her often. But aloha is a much powerful thing. It's a principle. And interesting enough, understand that's one of the concepts you're reading about this month, is about principles. So aloha is an overarching principle. It covers all things. It's not just the value. It's a principle. And I've learned that when you live by your principles and you don't compromise your principles, things tend to work out. It's about the principle, the largest principle, and living by her principles. And I believe that aloha is that principle by which we live in the islands. Of course, it is more than a greeting. It's really the spirit and the science of giving and receiving. That's reciprocity. Aloha is reciprocity. It's not just taking, but it's about giving and receiving. It's to give without expecting anything in return, but never forgetting to give back when you have the opportunity. Now, that doesn't mean just go and give freely, obviously. I mean, when you give, to give freely. But when you have the opportunity, and if you don't at the moment, that's okay. But if you happen to be in a position where you can extend to others, by all means, that would be the time to do it. That is aloha, the reciprocity agreement. Imagine, if we all gave in that way, people would all have food. All would have homes. No one would go without, because we would always be leaving them whole. Finding a way to leave others whole, including ourselves. Leaving places and people better than when we found them. Essentially, that is what aloha is. And Auntie Pilahi was very clear before her transition in 1985, is at some point in time, we will be experiencing a world that is experiencing a lot of tension, illness, dis-ease, disorder, and disconnection. And she really believed that Hawaii would be that place that would offer the healing to the world, and that healing would be aloha. And I think we're beginning to see that. I really do. And I think we're beginning to see that around the world. But it all starts here. More importantly, it starts with us. And it's recognizing the two faces of aloha. That there's aloha that goes out and aloha comes in. So everyone say this, aloha aku. Yeah, that's the aloha that moves away from you, right? Everyone say aloha mai. That's the aloha that comes back in. Now, we've talked about this before, but oftentimes it's good to remember. Aloha aku, aloha mai. That's right. But unless they come together, the aloha is just kind of floating around out there, right? I had a student say, Kumu, I went to this place and I didn't find any aloha. And I said, did you bring any with you? You see, you got to bring it. You don't just take it. And so like the image here, until the two faces come together, you're only a cup half full. And the object is when we're nose to nose, head to head, heart to heart, what we're really saying is your air is my air is your air. And when I say aloha, I am concerned about you. To hurt your air is to hurt my air. To hurt my air is to hurt you. So it is in my best interest to care for you and all things around me, because in doing so, I care for me. This is the promise of aloha that Auntie Pilahi speaks about in the song Aloha is. Aloha is a promise that if we care for others, we care for self. Care for yourself and care for others. Hawaii is aloha and aloha is Hawaii. It's a powerful concept. And I just wish more of us could begin to really grasp the energy, the mana that is in aloha. Everyone say mana. We've talked about mana before. Mana is that life-giving force, that energy which is in all things. It's in you, it's in me, it's in the sky, the land, the sea, it's in the trees, it's in everything around us. All we need to do is access it. All we need to do is let it in and be that source of mana. But what's important about mana to understand that it's all about balance. It's a plus and a minus, a positive and a negative, an up and a down, an in and out. It's all about balance. So let's practice balance. Everyone put your left hand out and say ma. That's soft, passive, inside, the feminine nature of who we are. Everyone put your right hand out and say na. Na, that's active, positive, masculine nature of our being, right? So you have ma and na. Put it together, and that's mana. Let's make some mana. There you go, there you go. So mana is all about balance, but it's not about moving one or the other out of the way. Notice not ma and na, any more than it's yin and yang. It's yin yang, as it is mana. So it's not about one or the other, but it's finding a way to maintain the balance between the two. Sometimes you have to add a little more energy, and sometimes you have to pull back on it. So maybe the word balance isn't as correct as perhaps equilibrium is, as my friend Mike would probably attest to that. But the idea that equilibrium is sometimes you give more, sometimes you give less. And what it means is that everyone is in the proper space, the right time, and for their good and the good of others. That's balance, right? Or equilibrium. So mahalo to the mana. It's all about balance. But we are living in a time when some of us are out of balance. And I think in many ways, some of that imbalance is being experienced in the way we think as well as the way we feel. In fact, one of the observations I made, I was having a conversation with some students the other day, and they're asking, Kumu, what's really going on the Mauna? Some friends on the continent are calling me. We really want to understand this. Now, I'm not here to unravel all of the things that are going on. That would take us, who knows, it's taking them for a while. But I look at it simply as this. Somehow, somewhere, we got to the point where brains and hearts are trying to communicate. The brain, the thought, the thinker, is asking the heart to think. And the heart is asking the brain to feel. Two things these organs don't do very well. But when they work together in alignment, wonderful things can happen. So the real trick is, how do we find that alignment, right? Interesting enough, it's finding that balance, the alignment of bringing them at the same level, rather than the way we see the world, which is mind over matter. Right? Even in this description, this depiction, the brain is over the heart. Our very words, the geography, the location suggest that one is greater than the other. I'm up, you're down. Is that really true? Because when you lie down, you're in alignment. Right? So it seems that when you're out of alignment, lie down, go to sleep. Right? Because then your head and your heart, same level. At some point in time, this order has created a disorder. And we need to find a way to make that connection, that alignment. And yes, there are issues. But when you are in alignment and looking at the issues with that alignment, perhaps we can find a way through. And whether it's on the mountain or in the parish, wherever that is, it's finding alignment. But it starts with aloha. That's where we have to start. And I would like to suggest the difficulty we have is that most of us, I'd say the majority of us, have come from a time called the industrial age, right? The industrial age. And in the industrial age, as a result of that, when we see problems, we actually want to fix them, right? We use the word fix. And we tend to look at mechanical responses, right? The mechanical response to a problem would be X, Y, and Z, with the pluses, the minus, and some kind of mechanical experience. So we look to mechanics. And yet, we are now entering a different phase, a spiritual age. And in that spiritual age, can we continue to look to mechanics for healing? Or do we want to look to healers for healing? Because in the spiritual age, rather than looking for fixes, we look for healing. Instead of understanding mechanics, we're looking for meaning. The opportunity in the spiritual age is, what is a spiritual response to the problems and difficulties in front of us, rather than the mechanical ones? And looking for the healers and not just the mechanics. This is the way of aloha. The aloha is about finding meaning and not just looking at the mechanics and getting lost in those. So the way of aloha is a way of being. It's a way of behaving. And you said it earlier in your opening remark. It's about behaving. It's our actions that really count. We can say all we want. We can think all day long. But the reality is that we don't think ourselves into new ways of behaving, but we act ourselves into new ways of thinking. Imagine, this guy's going to stand there all day long. Hey, that looks like a nice fish. I think if I catch it, I'll eat it. In fact, I think if I catch a lot of them, my family could eat it. I think it's time to go home. And all that thinking catches no fish. But eventually, when he casts the net, when you throw the net, you take some action, now people start to eat. All too often, we catch ourselves in thinking too much, that analysis paralysis. And sometimes it just takes a little action just to get up and go and do something. Go over and hug somebody. Do something to help someone else. Extend oneself beyond self. And that starts the action. That starts to flow the energy. This is the way of aloha. Not waiting to be asked, but see the opportunity to extend yourself. Expand oneself. The law of expansion. Expand others, and you expand as well. That's all it is. And aloha has the ability to expand. But I'm going to call upon Auntie Pillai for a second. Let me get out of the way so you can see this. Because what she was saying was that the way of aloha, there's certain steps. And you can read it faster than I can, but let's just go through it quickly. It says, before you can have aloha, you must do aloha. Isn't that what we just said? There's some action. You do it. All right? The text says, before you can be aloha, you must choose aloha. Because obviously there are other things you can choose. There are other ways that we can choose to behave. Right? The third one, before you can choose aloha, you must have the power to choose. There are people living in this world who don't have that sense of power. Right? The ones that don't believe that I have the choice, that I can make those choices. And how do we support them to say, yes, you are worthy. Each of us is worthy to make this choice. You can choose aloha rather than something else. So you have to choose it. Before you can have the power to choose, you must be the source of power. And as you said earlier, to look at the source and recognize that source is within. It is within all of us. But when we start looking outside ourselves for that permission, for that guidance, for those principles, we begin to disconnect ourselves from that source. In fact, wouldn't you say that the minute you extend or look to externalities for the answers, aren't we then becoming victims of those externalities. All right? We've done this before. Why don't you say this with me? What is it about me that allows me to see in you what bugs me about you? All right? Think about that. What is it about me that allows me to see in you what bugs me about you? Easy for me to say. All right? Now think about that. Say, if we change that around a little, what are we really saying? Rather than placing the responsibility, the blame, or even the power on something, someone outside of us, we are really saying that I am accountable. I can be responsible. Right? And that I can actually take on some ability. It's a much more empowering position rather than say, what is it about you that bugs me? All right? Because in doing that, we're actually saying, I can't get better. I can't feel this way. I can't heal until you heal, until you say I'm sorry, or until you change. The minute we do that, we've given that power away. The way of Aloha says, no, accept it. Understand it's within us to extend that forgiveness, to extend thanks, and to be for, find that consciousness that is source, right? You kind of described it earlier. Source is good, therefore all is good. We are the extension of that source. I'm also told that we were made in the image of the source. And like I said before, looking around the room, source is good looking. Yeah? So thank you for sharing that. All right? So the object is, before being the source of power, you must be conscious of the source. There needs to be an awareness. Everyone say, no, no. No, no. Yeah, no is an awareness and understanding. It's that sense. You might not see it, but you can feel it. Right? It's that little voice that says, turn now. Right? That's no. Being aware of that source. And so when we start looking at it, we recognize that Aloha is an inside job. It's not something we look for outside, but it's something we find inside. And like a lamp, the more we shine, the more we glow, the more the reflective energy. The more Aloha we see around us when we extend Aloha from ourselves rather than waiting it to come from the darkness outside. Right? Be the light in the dark. Allow that Aloha to flow from within. And guess what? Others will begin to shine as well. Why? Because they're a reflection of us. You know, what's powerful about this concept is what Auntie Pelahi and the Queen. And so the Queen said this: to gain the kingdom of heaven is to hear what is not said, to see what cannot be seen, and more importantly, to know the unknowable. What does that mean to know the unknowable, right? Auntie Pelahi repeated this, and this is captured in the Aloha Spirit Law as one of the statements in there as well. These are the principles, but what does it mean to know the unknowable? I'm not sure that I know all things, but if I know divinity, if I know the source, then I have access to the unknowable. Because the source knows all. Is that what I'm saying? So what they're really saying is that to know the unknowable, to recognize the source within, gives us access to all that needs to be known. You know exactly what you need to know at the time you need it, right? This is the principle. Now, when we look at the principles of Aloha, these 5 pillars, which we've talked about in the past, it reveals to us what the Queen was saying and eventually what Auntie Pelahi was saying as well. So we have these values. And when you take the acronym, of course, it spells Aloha. Many of us are familiar with that. But let's look at the word akahai, lokahi, olu. All of those 5 words are values. What I've learned, though, is values often live in a book on a wall, right? In some statement that says, these are our values. And yet the values really don't mean anything until we put them into action. It's the behavior. And in the Aloha Spirit Law, Auntie Pelahi speaks that. She says the particular value as expressed by a certain behavior. It's not just the value, it's the expression. How do you express that value in your life with others? That's the key to it. And unfortunately, we've been focusing on the values and not the expressions. We're not having a value conflict on the mountain. We're not having a value conflict in our country. We're having a priority conflict. It's the behaviors and the practices. We all have the values, but at some point in time, we are practicing and putting greater priority over one versus the other. And the object is, how do we find alignment in those priorities? But here's the hidden part. as I mentioned to you before, and reminding us now that each of these words is embedded with spirit. The language of this place, the mo'olelo, the olelo of Hawaii, is embedded with spirit. Let's just take one word. We'll take two, akahai and ahonui. Akahai, we say akahai. Right, we say that's the value of kindness, the expression of kindness and being kind to others. But what does it really mean? So let's break it down, all right? One more time. Akahai. Let's say aka. Ha. I. Akahai. You see that? So just the context of what we say. Aka is the word for shadow. Many times we greet one another and say, Aloha, ka kahi aka, the first shadow. Ka kahi, the first aka, shadow. That's good morning. That's the time of day. But aka also means mirror. Shadow as to follow. Shadow as to be behind, to look up to. The sun that's behind whatever it is you're looking at. Right? Aka ha-i. Ha, the life-giving breath. That life energy that's in all of us. The spiritual divine breath. Of who? Of what? I. The divine creator of all that is seen and unseen. So aka. Aka ha-i. To be the shadow. To mirror the life-giving essence of God. Now, when you do that, how can you not be kind? Right? Does that make sense? Akahai, to be kind, to follow and to be in the presence of divinity. That's what you say, aloha. Aloha, to be in the divine presence of breath. What a powerful statement. So how can it be anything but? Last one, ahonui. Ahonui, the patience. Remember, the word aho nui means a deep breath. But in the word is honu. Honu, the turtle. And anytime the turtle feels frightened, he takes a deep breath and dives. He dives to the depths of the ocean, and he waits until everything gets calm. And then he rises again to take a deep breath from the darkness to the light. Aho nui. The spirit is to be patient. This too shall pass, whatever it is. It's just a matter of knowing that if we are following the shadow and the mirror of God, this too shall pass. Right? So the beginning and the end of the word aloha is a very powerful concept. That's the balance in the language of Auntie Pelahi, right? So mahalo, Auntie. But let's just quickly do this. When we start looking at these balances, here's the imbalances that we're experiencing in our life. The tensions between commerce and culture. And that could be anything. The culture of church, the culture of family, the culture of community. But transactions versus relationships. Belongings versus belonging, right? Oftentimes, many of us find that membership by the phones we carry and the shoes we wear and the cars we drive because we no longer sense the belonging of community that we once had before. It is these things that give us membership, belongings. And oftentimes, we refer to something or someone rather than having reverence for them. The object is when we find reverence in community, rather than just referring to community, we automatically have belonging rather than just looking to be a member of that organization. That's the power of this. But most importantly, this concept of human being versus being human. What does that mean? I meet a lot of people who are living the human being something. Hi, my name is John and I happen to be a doctor. My name is Frank and I happen to be a tour guide. Well, I am always my father's son. And I may be doing something like talking today, speaking, but I'm always my father's son. Being human versus human being. The object is how do we find that presence? To be that thing first. That's what Auntie Pelaia was saying. That's what Aloha says. Aloha is to be present, to be here, to be now. This is Aloha. The way of Aloha allows us to be. It reminds us that Aloha is not things, but it's people. It's the people of the house, not just the house. How do we relate to one another in all these ways is to remember that it's about balance. It's not just about acknowledging the mechanics of singing, the mechanics of going, the mechanics of videos, but it's the meaning that we find in those songs, the meaning that we find in the relationships with others. This is the Aloha, the way of Aloha, to find that balance. But know this, that there's a continental worldview, a world to look at. It says it's about the way I think. I think, finish it for me. Therefore I am. See, that's a universal thing. Somehow we seem to all know that. I think, therefore I am. I woke up this morning, I thought I was 6'2". Got in the car, found out I wasn't, right? But now that I'm standing on this, hey, still get chance, right? But the reality is, in our world, the islander worldview, which all of us are islanders since we all live on island Earth, right? There's a different concept, and that concept is more about belonging. The word He Hawaii'o in Hawaii means I am Hawaii. I am of this place. Therefore, I have membership. I have relationship. I eat her, she eats me. The reciprocity agreement of my ancestors and my grandchildren. The giving and the receiving. And it is in this understanding that I belong. Therefore, I am. My identity, who I am, my value to you, to myself, to others, is because that sense of belonging is there. We have a relationship, not a transaction. Right? It's not living by accounting, but by accountability. The big difference. And the way of Aloha allows us to look at and create safe places for people. Because when people feel safe, Aloha allows us to be authentic and real, to be creative, to be empowered, and to support others. But to create a safe place. The way of Aloha is to feel safe. And when you feel safe, you need to have trust. In the absence of trust, it's hard to be safe. To know that someone's going to speak ill about you when you leave the room. When someone's not thinking about you, when they're thinking about themselves alone. We need that trust. There needs to be truth, honesty, right? Transparency, and commitment to one another. When you say aloha, it's a commitment to you. If you can't make that commitment when you say aloha, like I said, just say hi. No commitment in hi. But when you say aloha, it means I'm committed to you, to protect you, to preserve you, to care for you as you care for me. This is the power of aloha. But it comes from within us. And to recognize that the very word for truth, everyone say oia'io. Truth, the word oia'io is a palindrome. It works both ways. It's kind of like mom, dad, Bob, right? Those are palindromes. Look at it. Oia'io, both ways, same word. Well, isn't that what truth is? Truth is that fact. Truth is that thing that says I'm truthful in there and I'm truthful out here. I'm truthful out here and I'm truthful in here. Does it make sense? That's oia'io. And when I am in your presence, I want to feel that truth. Speak the truth, right? And that's what you want to be, is find that. Whatever that truth is, speak your truth. All right? And so, faithfulness and sincerity. But aloha is not always warm and fuzzy, is it? We live in the world of balance and imbalance. That's right. So oftentimes it says, don't mistake kindness or patience for weakness, right? Just because someone is being kind doesn't mean they're being weak. Because they're being patient and they're being open doesn't mean they're weak. There were consequences for poor behavior, right? Because it's everyone's responsibility to care for one another. And if you don't, there are consequences to that. And so all too often, people begin to believe that, oh, well, I'm not going to respond. If my child runs into the street, I'm going to call him in, right? It may be gruff, but it's for his good and our own. That is aloha as well, right? And so oftentimes we forget. We tend to look to one side of this. So the object is, what then, how then do we measure aloha? What is that success? And for those of you who've been here before, you've heard me talk about this, but it's about shifting the way we see the rewards as well as the punishments. My grandmother used to tell me this when I walk over to her house. She'd call me and she didn't ask me when I walked into the house how my day was. Her first question to me was always, what did you eat? Right? Are you hungry? Have you eaten? That was her first question. Her concern was not about anything else, but whether or not I had eaten. Now that's a powerful concept, right? It wasn't what she did or what I did, but whether I ate. So what happens if we shift the way we view the world and our behaviors with one another? If we start asking this question, has everyone eaten? Has everyone had enough? Are you full? Because if we answer the question with a yes, then maybe that means that we've adopted practices and principles that have led to an outcome that says yes. This is the way of aloha. And so my hope for all of us is at some point in time, we can take the next step in our life journeys together or on our own and to live aloha, share aloha, and be aloha. By living our principles and not compromising them, it might be a better place for us all. With that in mind, aloha, 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 and mahalo. Thank you.
It's easy to love somebody who's always wearing a smile. But when somebody steps on your toes, you know it's hard to go that extra mile. But if we want to live a really happy life, we need a lot more peace and a lot less strife. We need to love everybody in the world. We need to love all our sisters and our brothers. Learn how to talk to one another. Love everybody that we meet, and let our light shine on when we're walking down the street. Love everybody in the world. You see, if I love my neighbor like I love myself, well, maybe just a piece of my neighbor's love will spill over onto someone else. 'Cause love is like bamboo sweet, and to that end, it not tastes good unless you share it with a friend. Share love all over the world. We need to love all our sisters and our brothers, and learn how to talk to one another. Love everybody that we meet, and let our light shine on when we're walking down the street. Love everybody in the world. We need to love all our sisters and our brothers, and learn how to talk to one another. Love everybody that we meet, and let our light shine on when we're walking down the street. Love everybody in the world. We need to love everybody. Love everybody. We need to love everybody in the
Oh, yeah, I get to follow that. I love everybody in this room and everybody in the world, because everybody is a mirror expression of me, although I am better looking. This is the time of our service. Great joy in this service at this time. This is where we give, and then so that this ministry can fulfill its mission of transforming lives and inspiring people to make a difference in the world. Giving with not knowing in anything in return, but giving because it is the law of circulation. Giving knowing that this place, not only this community, but this state, this world, will be better because of it. So if you will, please take your blessing, your love offering, your tithe, whatever you may give today, and place it upon your heart, and let's say our offering blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. Thank each of you, and thank you, God.
The Spirit is here and the power is real. Anything can happen and it probably will. Something very good, something good is going on around here.
There's a light that shines to make the darkness appear. Power of the word, but there's nothing to fear.
That's right.
Something very good, something good is going on around here.
This is a church on fire. church on fire.
The Spirit is here and the power is real.
That's right.
Anything can happen and it probably will. Something very good, something good is going on around here.
There's a light that shines, make the darkness
yeah.
power of the word, but there's nothing to fear. Something very good, something good is going on around here. This is a church on fire. This is a Holy Spirit place. We have a burning desire to live in God's holy name. Let the fire burn in every heart to light the way deep in the dark. Let the flame of love burn higher. This is a church. This is a church on fire.
Sing it with us, you know it.
This is a church on fire. This is a Holy Spirit place. We have a burning desire to live in God's holy name. Let the fire burn in every heart to light the way deep in the dark. Let the flame of love burn higher. This is a church. This is a church on fire. Something very good, something good is going on around here. Something very good, something good is going on around here. Something very good, something good is going on around here.
All right. Thank you. And we invite the beautiful, wonderful ushers up to the front as we take this time to just give thanks for these blessings, these gifts, these offerings. And we know that it goes on to bless this community, not only within this community, but as an extension of this love that we are. And so we say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. And now I want to just have Elaine stay here real quick. Elaine, please stay. Thank you. I got you, girl. And I invite Jade Guess up because I heard a little birdie told me that this is your last Sunday, and you've been absolutely a positive, just a beautiful blessing to this community. And we wanted to pay tribute to you, Elaine, because you are the example of selfless service. Mahalo for your service. And Jade?
Elaine, I wasn't sure we were going to be able to have you up here, so I was like, I don't know, because she's so dedicated to what she does. If I could speak, I can't even begin to find the right words to say, but when I think of sacred service, I think she is the pure definition of that. I can't even keep track of the many ways that she serves in this community. That's how much Elaine serves within this community. And she does it with ease and without any ask of any kind of gratitude or accolades. She is so well loved. And as she takes this time to be with her daughter, we just bless her and know that she will return when the time is right. But we want to send you off with a blessing. So if we can, everyone. Yeah. Oh, come up. And okay. And so everyone raise your hands. And so we say, Elaine, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Thank you. And if anyone has any lays for Elaine, please feel free to,
All right, everyone. And thank you, Elaine, again. Let's give her one more round of applause. Thank you. And we invite you to stay as we close this ceremony, Elaine. And so, thanks to all the volunteers today. Thank you for showing up and saying yes to this community. And now let us take this time to rise, to stand, to grab a friendly hand as we close out by singing the peace song and Aloha Oi.